welcome to the Song Title Challenge, where you know what the question is. Climbers, how would you write this one? We have listeners of this podcast, a.k.a. the Climbers. You may have heard that word before. Send in their song titles. You can send in one. You can send in 100. Send in as many as you want to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. And put Song Title Challenge in the subject line so it gets into the right folder. If you don't, it won't. And we want to make sure that we take a look at what you send in. I spring these titles, one title, on Brent live on the show. He has no idea what's going to happen. I give a hot take on it. I'm like, this is what I think about. Sometimes I think a title's really interesting. Sometimes I think a title's really bland or extremely specific, where there's not a lot of ways to move around it. And then what we do is try to mimic in a little 15 to 20 minute episode, a little mini. So try to mimic what you as a songwriter should be doing before you take a title into a write, or what sometimes ends up happening with a title when you're in the writing room itself. And this is before you start writing lyrics. You're deciding, what is the angle we're going to go? Like, what's what's the subject matter going to be about? Sometimes I think one of the biggest giveaways of an amateur songwriter is they just go for the low-hanging cliche fruit. Yep. And sometimes by spending 15 minutes on a title, man, you can find something brilliant that would take something that people think is going to be cliche and then hit them right over the head with your prowess and have it go a different way. And not for nothing, this exercise is absolutely amazing for reviving and breathing new life into old song titles in your hook book. They might be a couple years old. At one point you thought, oh, this is great. I kind of have like a little vague idea of what I'm going to do, but I like this title, and it moved you enough to make it from your brain into the hook book. And then for whatever reason, you didn't get around to it. Now there's been a lot of space between the time that you put that ink to paper in the hook book, and it doesn't feel the same way. It's wilted lettuce. And then you do one of these, and all of a sudden, pow, man, it makes that. If you can take an old hook like that and turn that into a cuttable song, then by golly, you got nothing but gold in that book. That's gold.
Exactly. And it's there waiting for you. It's there waiting for you.
This is a fun, creative exercise, guys. We just do this to kind of show you how much fun we have doing it, by the way, and how differently things can turn out from the hot take to the road you choose to go down in terms of conceptualizing what the song should be about. And use all of it, use none of it. It's up to you. Again, it's just a creative exercise. We demand that we are invited to any number one parties, though. That is
That's right.
We demand that.
We don't take any publishing, but we will take some hors d'oeuvres.
That's right. And a cocktail for Johnny. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you ready?
Yeah. Why not?
All right. So this is a new contributor to Song Title Challenge.
Oh, cool.
Her name is Marla Rubenstein.
Marla. Yeah, I know Marla.
Okay. And her song title is One Heart to the Gallon.
One Heart to the Gallon. Oh,
One Heart to the Gallon. So,
okay, write this down. Okay. What's your hot take, Johnny? Johnny hot takes?
Yeah, I got a hot take. Like, there's something that's, I think it's interesting the way it can kind of roll off the tongue. I think like on a rhythmic way, I think it's cool. But I think maybe it's, I haven't heard it before, so I think that's good. But I think maybe it's just a little specific, but then every time I say that, we come up with 5 different ways that it's not specific. So
right, yeah.
I'm interested to see what we can do.
I'm kind of curious to see too, because right off the bat, I have no idea. I mean, it feels like to start narrowing down, what does this title tell us? So Marla, thank you for sending that in. And she actually had to email me recently and was like, asking kind of about the process, like, hey, I've sent stuff in. I'm like, Johnny picks them. I don't pick them. That's the whole deal.
and for the record, we did not have a conversation about this prior. Like you have never, not once in the time we've been doing this podcast in 5.5 years, said, hey, somebody called and said they want you to look at this or that. I get a bunch of emails on this, guys, and I just kind of go through whatever I think is going to blow my skirt up that day. It's just that simple. And
Yeah, or throw me under the bus. One or the other. Either way is fun for you.
Come on, word boy.
Exactly. Let's see what he does with this. Yeah. So, Marla, thanks for sending that in. One Heart to the Gallon. So just looking at it, and of course, I know Marla a little bit, and she writes a lot of country, but just even not knowing her and what her intention may be, I mean, you got gallon of gasoline in there. So that makes me think car driving, and that just feels like a country song. Mm-hmm. You know, because you're talking miles to the gallon. That's what that's playing off of. Okay, like how many miles to the gallon? I get 17 miles a gallon. I get 30 miles a gallon, miles to the gallon. So, you know, that's feeling like kind of getting in that country realm of driving cars or trucks or something, and heart. Mm-hmm. So it has to do with love or something. So I'm trying to find a way into this because this is tricky because you think, okay, you know, you burn up gallons of gasoline as you drive miles, right? So this is how many miles it takes to burn up a gallon of fuel. Well, 1 heart to the gallon. So I got to wrap my head around this because this is probably one that I wouldn't be surprised if Marla's like, I don't know. I like it. I don't know what to do with it. Because that's my first response. Like, this is a puzzle. Let's see if we can make it simple and elegant. 1 heart to the gallon. So a gallon of gasoline will burn up 1 heart, basically. It will do 1 heart to the gallon, which makes me think, okay, so you have a gas tank may hold 15 gallons or whatever, depending on your vehicle, right? So does that mean you can go through like 15 hearts in a tank? And what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to go through a heart? 1 heart to the gallon.
I got an idea.
One. You got an idea? What's your?
You know what popped into my head right away was, and
that's what popped into my head at first too. Total silence.
No, it was a Roseanne Cash song, 7-Year Ache.
Oh yeah, which is basically about the 7-year itch.
Yeah. You act like you were just born tonight, face down in a memory, but feeling all right. Who does your past belong to today, baby? Don't say nothing when you're feeling this way. Girls in the bars thinking, who is this guy? But they don't think nothing when they're telling you lies. Mm-hmm. You look so careless when they're shooting that bull. Don't you know the heartaches are heroes when their pockets are full? Mm-hmm. Tell me you're trying to cure a 7-year ache. See what else your old heart can take. The boys say, when's he going to give us some room? And the girls say, God, I hope he comes back soon.
Yeah.
It makes me think like it could be a cool angle if you're describing in the way that this song is describing in the third person. So it's not the artist that would take the song, but a total lady killer.
Yeah, it would be somebody that's burning them up,
or it could
right?
Or it could be a girl who just leaves a path of destruction of men.
Yeah.
Behind her who are just they fall in love right away, and she just keeps moving on. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing, as if she's a player or he's a player and they're just interested in, let's say, getting down somebody's pants or something. But it could be the kind of guy or the kind of girl who people just fall in love with them, but fast. Right. So maybe they haven't done anything wrong or anything, or they're not up to evil doing, but they're just this like perfect soul maybe, or this supposed perfect soul that for whatever reason can't settle down. There's some meat in there.
Yeah.
And why is it that they can't settle down? Why is it that there's 1 heart to the gallon? Mm-hmm. Why are there so many hearts that have been broke between here and Tullahoma? What if there's a distance that you put in there?
Yeah.
They move somewhere.
Heart to the gallon.
From Oklahoma to Nashville or whatever.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that, like Desperado, the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is a more natural one because it does have a connotation of burning through them, using them up, a heart. So it's this negative connotation. I think it was giving me a little fits. I'm getting more now where I'm naturally just looking for the positive, looking for the what's the more positive angle on it. Is where I like to start, right? Mm-hmm. The low-hanging fruit tends to be usually the more kind of negative. But I think that would be, and as you said, Johnny, doing it a second or third person where it's not the singer who's the one who's burning through hearts as they roll through towns kind of thing, because that puts them in a negative light, and most singers don't want to be the jerk, right?
Right.
It might be, if it's a female song talking about a guy, it's like, girl, I know you want to go riding around with them, kind of playing off the whole good old boys, back roads kind of thing, go riding around. But I just got to warn you, he gets one heart to the gallon. Oh, what? He gets one heart to the gallon. He's always moving on, and he's just whatever, going to fall for him. But yeah, basically he's going to roll out. Like, yeah, he's a player. He gets one heart to the gallon, and he's just joyriding around. And it feels like it's one of those where like it could be almost the bookend chorus where it starts off with he gets one heart to the gallon, 1,000 heartaches for a tank of gas. He gets
1,000 heartaches between here and Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's like, and then it would come back around the end of the chorus, like, yeah, he gets one heart to the gallon and da-da-da-da-da. Like there'd be another line after it to be like the kicker, like he gets one heart to the gallon and he's always running on empty or something.
Right.
And he'll leave you running on empty, girl. Something. Some sort of like, twist on that makes you go, oh, that's great at the end.
Yeah.
I don't hear it ending on gallon. Like, how you going to sing that? That's cool. Yeah. Like at the end of a chorus.
It's one heart to the gallon.
It's just not very euphonious, is it? The gallon. It's like, that's why. So that's part of the reason why I feel like it's almost a book and you can hit it. He's go one heart to the gallon, one heart, da-da-da, right? You're not holding that note. It's not a big resolved note or whatever. And then you come back around and it's the second to last line. And then that last line is like a really punchy in the face kind of thing. And that has the more singable line as well that can resolve that melodically. So even as a lyricist, I'm thinking like, what can the melody be doing? Mm-hmm. Even though I don't know what the melody would be, but I know general principles, right? So I think a song of warning could be cool. And I think that is the one that lends itself to the best, or at least right now, the most obvious one. So I think that's a good take on it, Johnny. Like, what are there like positive ways? Is there a way, if you can spin that positive, if you can find it, like what are those different angles? Or it could be a guy singing about a girl too. She gets one heart to the gallon, which kind of makes it feel like she's the one in the driver's seat. She's the one driving, like you're hopping in her car, possibly, which it feels a little bit more like it's the guy that invites a girl, climb on in and we'll go driving around these back roads or whatever. But I gotta warn you, the singer saying, I got to warn you, girl, he gets one heart to the gallon. Like he goes through them fast.
What if it's not a gallon of gas?
A gallon of whiskey. Water. Could it be like a getting over someone song? Like, I get one heart to the gallon. Like, I'm be over her by the time I drink about a gallon of this stuff, which better not be in one sitting because you won't be sitting by the end of it. You'll be flat out.
Oh, that's interesting. You sort of put a time frame on getting over.
Yeah.
A breakup.
Yeah. It's like, a gallon is such a not usual way of thinking about alcohol consumption, right?
Yeah. But I think that's what makes it seem longer.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like, that's a lot. A gallon of beer, a gallon of anything else kill you.
And a gallon has 164 ounces in it. So it's like 10, 16 ounce tall boys.
Okay. Well, thank you, mathaholic.
I'm here to help.
Here for the math. So I'm just trying to think of like, would that be 2 bottles of something would be a gallon? Do they have half-gallon bottles of something like a whiskey or something? Like by the time I finish the second bottle here next week or something, by the time I'm done with it.
Well, how much is 1.5 liters? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Now we're getting
4 quarts in a gallon. That's about where I stop.
Right.
I'm not much use in the kitchen. And maybe you're not talking literally. It's just kind of like one heart. I get one heart to the gallon.
So 1.5 liters, which is when you get a handle.
Okay.
That's a 1.5, right?
Now, what do they mean by handle? Because I heard that recently. Like there's
it's got a handle on it.
It just means
that's the lick. Like that's like you've got your pint, right? You got your little pocket pint or whatever, and then you've got a normal 750 milliliter. That's your normal liquor bottle that they'll have at a bar on the rail because it's just you can fit it's spatial, right? You can fit more different liquors on that rail in that limited amount of space. And then you got the handle. The handle's the 1.5, and it usually has a handle on it.
Okay.
Like for instance, Tito's vodka. If you look at Tito's vodka on the liquor store, 750 is that round normal bottle that you would expect.
Yeah.
But then the 1.5 literally has a glass handle built into it that you can carry it. So that's what they mean by that. It's a 1.5. And 1.5, oh, this can't be right. 1.5 liters is not 1.5 quarts, I don't think, or 1.58
I'm sure not.
quarts. Is that right? Well, maybe it is. So
it'd be a little under 3 of those then for a gallon.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Johnny,
that is. I mean,
Johnny likes to pound some cocktails, but it takes me more than a week to get through a handle.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the kind of challenge.
4th of July coming up.
Yeah. I'd like to call it the 5th of July. Having a 5th on the 4th.
There you go. There's
something else.
It's
anyway. So that's a challenge on doing that, because it's not, a gallon is not what you think of, but it might be a way to kind of 1 heart to the gallon. So that would just be, that'd be a lot of stuff. It's not simple or elegant, because you got, if it's just doing alcohol to get over a heartache, one broken heart to the gallon kind of thing. Well, then you're putting their mind like a driving, burning gasoline thing, but I'm really talking about drinking, and that's not easily divisible by a gallon. So what do I mean by that? And over that time frame, it's going to be a longer time frame. Just like there's cumbersome, right? They have
to do the math.
Got to kind of do the math, and because why would you talk about gallon? So the driving thing still feels like the shortest distance between to make this title make sense. 1 heart to the gallon. Man, maybe talking about this truck is so freaking awesome. Or this car. What's it get? What's the gas? Oh, dude, it gets 1 heart a gallon. Like it is a chick magnet. It's a shaggin' wagon, right?
Oh, the shaggin' wagon, the stabbing cabin.
Oh, God. I've not heard that one. Okay. So
was it get 1? Yeah, you're like, that just sounds like Matthew McConaughey in Days of Confused. All right.
What's it get?
You know what I like about 18-year-old girls? They're always 18.
Yeah, I get over this age. What's the kind of miles it get? Oh, son, all you need to worry about is it gets about 1 heart to the gallon. All right.
All right. That's good.
So, I mean, that could be something that's like a car song. So that's a way to go with it. That's kind of more kind of fun. You're basically talking about how awesome that car was, or that truck or something, and how basically you got a lot of girls.
I like that one a lot.
For like a country artist, I don't know, because that's, just basically saying I was a player. I mean, you can put it past tense, get a little more distance between the current you and then, or maybe you can go more that way if you're doing like a rock song or something like that. You can just kind of own that player and it's more. So that may kind of shift your genres a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe the guy's trying to sell you the car.
Oh, hold on a second. Though, why does that have to mean that he's a player? Okay, you got the guys that are compensating, overcompensating, right? So they've got the Ferrari or the whatever for, the connotation I'm meaning on that. Well, listen, they got the car, but it doesn't mean they get the girl all the time. Well, if you got the Ferrari, you do. It just could be like that cool car you think is going to get you chicks. Yeah. Right?
Why I think player is because 1 heart to the gallon. That means like you go through a lot of gallons driving around, right? Tank has 16 hearts in it or whatever. So that makes me think it goes through a lot. I guess it's not as bad as 45 hearts to the gallon. That means you're really rolling through them. But still, even just 1 for a gallon is like you're going through pretty regularly, a lot of hearts. So that makes you think, well, that's still kind of a player. I mean, you fill up once a week. So
you can't get around that connotation. But so definitely like a chick. I was just thinking of it in terms of like a chick magnet. That doesn't necessarily mean that the guy's got no game, he's going to be able to get past the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like the car attracts women. What if the car gets 1 heart to a gallon, but I don't?
Yeah. I mean, it could be that kind of thing. That's a nice twist on it. It's like, yeah, but I'm rolling with you for the life of my tires.
Ooh, okay,
which is cheesy, right?
That's still not that's still only 40,000 miles though.
Yeah, it's the tires, and that's not going to impress a girl.
I'm going to roll with you for at least the life of my tires.
But I'm going to roll with you till the wheels fall off. You know, that kind of like, I'm with you for because you still.
I like that. This car gets 1 heart to. Okay. So what if he's got the car, and the car's the chick magnet, but he's not a player, right? But he's got the cool car, and she thinks,
yeah,
that's what's going on, right? Like she thinks that's what it is, and so he's got to just clarify, like, hey, babe, granted, this car gets one heart to the gallon, but I'm going to ride with you until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, which is still super specific, and like it's a little like not the right kind of cocky, I feel like, for a country artist, like just for like what I'd say, like, is there a different way to serve it up? Although it maybe from the female point of view, or maybe he's somebody to her, somehow she gets 1 heart to the gallon, man. If there's a way, like maybe we're driving around and she's riding shotgun, right? So he's driving and boys are like, what the heck? She's breaking necks as we're rolling through town or whatever. She gets 1 heart to the gallon. But she's rolling with me till the wheels fall off.
Ooh,
she's a heartbreaker.
That puts her up on the pedestal there.
She's the heartbreaker, and we're driving by. Break mine. Exactly. And the guys are looking at her like, what? And so she's stealing hearts and breaking necks, but she's being faithful to him. But she's riding with me till the wheels fall off. Okay, now we're doing, now we're kind of bringing it into the kind of more traditional lanes of modern country. We're riding around. So you have that kind of thing. She gets 1 heart for the gallon.
That's the one I like the best.
So like every night so far, like every night basically, riding through town, somebody's falling for her. They just can't. The girl can't help it. She can't help it. It's not her fault.
She can't help it. Help me. I've been hypnotized.
That's right. And so, but she's riding with me to the wheels fall off. Like she's riding me like for the long haul. She's not bailing. So that's a positive love song. And so I like that aspect of it. It may be a little more common in its approach that, that thought of she's beautiful, but she's, with me, that's been done 1,000 times, but you find that different way of serving it up. That makes it's like, okay, a lot of artists could say that. You could do kind of the fun kind of thing where the guy is, just to come back to something we talked about earlier, the guy is trying to sell him the car. It gets 1 heart to the gallon. It gets da-da-da-da-da. Almost like this, almost a sales pitch for the guy trying to get you to buy the truck or buy the cool car. I don't know what the service is in that, like where you go with that. I almost get like a If the Devil Danced in Empty Pockets kind of vibe from Joe Diffie. Something like this. And I also think Morgan Wallen had that song, Silverado for Sale, which is a super cool song. But basically the thing was, he's selling the Silverado because money's tight and rings aren't cheap. So he's selling this truck that he loves, that he romanced her with that truck and whatever, riding around and stuff. But he's selling it to get money to buy a ring for her. Right. So I got a Silverado for sale. And basically he's talking to the guy. This is the ad is going to get the prettiest girl in your hometown up in the cab driving around and blah, blah, blah.
No, that's it. So so you're talking about the individual is selling the car to somebody else. Or I think you write it from the seller's point of view.
Yeah. That's what Silverado for Sale is like.
Yeah. I like that angle.
It's like, it'll help you get the girl. That's what it did for me. I can just imagine the smile on some old boy's face reading that. Like it'll get the pretty, speakers ain't bad and blah, blah, blah. It'll go out in the country to go too far kind of thing. But that, that's right on that idea of, because if it's a thought of like, I'm getting out of the game, it gets 1 heart per gallon, but I found the one I want to roll with for life. So I don't need the car anymore kind of thing. But that's right on top of that. I don't want to get right on top of that because it was already done really, really well. I'd want to find a different angle. 1 heart to the gallon. This is a challenging one. We've gone long. Dang. Marla, what are you doing to me?
We got some good looks though. I mean, okay, so that's one is right on top of Silverado, but what's the twist that you could put on that if you're getting out of the game?
Yeah.
What if he's selling the car or the truck because he lost her?
Yeah, it could be that. Like, you got one heart, like this, one heart to the gallon. I'm trying to think of like running on fumes, running on empty, one heart to the gallon. What if it's like, okay, what if broke? I got enough money for a gallon of gas and we're going out. Thank God this sucker gets one heart to the gallon. I'm trying to get, one heart to the gallon out of this thing, out of this tank of gas. I have enough money for a gallon of gas. Which is not too realistic these days with credit cards, but it might work for a song, right? Or
but hold on. What? Think about this. Think about stories, Facebook stories, Instagram stories. Heart, and they float up.
Oh yeah, another heart to the gallon. Get one. It's not very much.
You get one heart to the gallon, and we're gonna. Maybe that's getting cheesy. We're going to try to talk about Facebook stories or something.
Yeah, I'll try to stay away with that just so it'd be more timeless. But I do like to think of somehow like he's down to his last gallon. Maybe it's not that he didn't have enough money. Maybe, or maybe you're looking back. Like I had enough change on me for a gallon of gas. And to take her out, and I was hoping to get one heart to the gallon. Basically, win her over before the date has to be over because I'm out of gas.
Wait, what if it's the car? On the Silverado tip, right? With the Morgan Wallen song. What if it's the car that he picked her up in? This car, and he loves the car. Gets one heart to the gallon, and he's just explaining it to her. Yeah, but I'm running out of gas. This gets one heart to the gallon, but I'm running out of gas. I don't want to be with anybody else.
That's still like, what does it mean to be running out of gas in that kind of context? I don't have my brain quite wrapped around yet. Or maybe it's not that he can't afford to put more than a gallon of gas in the tank, because that's just not very realistic with credit cards, right? Anymore. That's like, who actually runs into that? Like, I can't fill up the tank. You might,
but my point is, he doesn't want to fill up that tank anymore because he wants to be with her.
That could be a thing. The running out of gas thing kind of throws me a little bit. But what I was thinking was, instead of going, I only have a gallon like in this tank left to woo this girl, maybe it's because we didn't have to drive around that much. Like, we parked and we took a walk and we laid a blanket by the riverside kind of thing, or we did something else, or I didn't go driving around all night. I used like a gallon of gas, but thank God I got one gallon. We sat on the tailgate, maybe stuff that has to do with the car. We sat there, we listened to the radio, just kind of parked overlooking the town and the valley kind of thing, the little lights of town or whatever. We're up on this bluff. And then we turned the radio up and we danced, whatever. We sat on the back of the truck.
That's interesting.
And so it's like, I didn't have to use a full tank of gas. I used like a gallon of gas, but I got one heart to the gallon. Like, I got a lot of mileage out of that 1 gallon because we didn't go driving. We drove to the spot, then we hung out. And
that's it right there. It gets one heart to the gallon, but I got a lot of mileage. Out of that tank or out of that.
I got a mileage, but man, we went one heart to the gallon.
But we sure went far.
Yeah, and it took me everywhere I needed to go. It's like got a lot. It's still getting mileage out of that. Got a lot of miles out of that truck. That can be kind of cool too. Again, there's just the math that has to be worked out. That's tricky on that. Making that the thing, one heart to the gallon. But that's also positive.
Yeah. What if it's like it was? How love walks in and you just when you least expect it, right? And you have no idea what's going to. And so he is down in the dumps. Lost his job, lost his dog, lost his mom. What I mean? Like, everything's down to his last gallon of gas.
Yeah.
And then she walks in. Right. And then that's the story. And so this truck got one heart to the gallon, but that's all I needed to drive the rest of the way.
Yeah.
or whatever like that.
That got me where I needed to go,
But that got me where I needed to go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like his whole life changes because of that. But like he's like broke on his last, like that's real. That's like a Sylvester Stallone thing. I got $53 in my bank account when they offered me $500,000 for Rocky, and he sold his dog for $15 to somebody at the liquor store, and the dog that he loved, and he turns down the $500,000 and says, "No, I'm going to star in it." And then they say, "Okay, like we'll give you $60,000 and you can star in it." And they didn't think it was going to work out. And then like he goes back and he buys that dog for $5,000 from the person he sold it to, because you know what I mean? Like it could be some sort of like triumphant local boy does good or David against Goliath kind of story where he's just down in the dumps and then he meets the girl, and that was the last gallon of gas. So they told me that this car had good mileage, but I never knew it got 1 heart to the gallon, maybe something like that.
So that could be cool. So I know our times, we're over 30 minutes on this. It's crazy. So we try to keep these shorter, usually like 15 to 20. So Marla, I hope this was a hard nut to crack, but I think we got a couple good angles on it. So
we got a couple contenders.
I think so.
So if she wants to reach out to you and one-on-one with this and finish this song up, or maybe do a private song title challenge.
Yes. So happy to continue this conversation with you, Marla, or with anyone else. I do private song title challenges. I do song feedback, song evaluations. I do Q&As, just kind of coaching, mentoring sessions. You can get all the details. You can see my calendar, and you can book an appointment at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. And I'm glad to help you repair your song, prepare your song, fresh air your song, whatever we got to do. I don't even know what that last part means.
Yeah, fresh air your song. All right, guys. Well, it brings us to the end of a rather long song title challenge, but I think the juice is worth the squeeze because we got a couple extra miles out of that gallon in there. This podcast exists before we sign off here, send in your song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com and put song title challenge in the subject line so it gets into the right folder, and maybe we'll get yours on the air. All right, guys, this podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the number one party that you're going to invite us to.
Boom. I heard that.